Have the 49ers' dream draft plans been revealed? We're talking about that on today's San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr., and I want to talk about the perfect prospect that the Niners are hoping falls to them with the 11th overall pick in April's 2025 NFL Draft. Speaking of the draft and the lead up to it, myself, producer Chip, we will be in Indianapolis starting next week for the NFL Scouting Combine, so you know what I need you to do. Go on down, hit that subscribe button. I know you see it because the 49ers Report will be providing great coverage once again from Indianapolis for the NFL Combine. And I want to start off on that note. Did I convince Kyle Shanahan to attend the Combine this year? Obviously, I say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but hear me out a little bit because I thought it was a great idea that I voiced earlier this week that Kyle Shanahan attends the Combine, and what happens? A day later, it's announced that Kyle Shanahan might be in attendance, and the receipts are there. You see when I tweeted this out a few days ago, February 18th, the 2025 NFL Draft, a big one for the Niners. San Francisco needs to crush it. They need impact players and depth pieces from this class. Kyle Shanahan usually does not attend the NFL Scouting Combine, but I think it's important that he shows up this year. Why? Well, the 49ers are coming off an embarrassing 6-11 season. They've made two major coaching staff changes. There is value, I think, in meeting with prospects face-to-face. Because as we know, face-to-face communication is important in all walks of life, in all businesses, in all industries. You get a better idea for what these prospects do, what they're about, and if you want to have them as a member of your organization. And in particular, in the first round of the draft, San Francisco is sitting with the 11th overall pick, and they've whiffed on a lot of first-rounders. The Niners cannot do that this year, and Kyle Shanahan should be present in Indy, even though he probably won't. Hopefully I'm wrong about that. Hopefully he is. You think about what the cream of the crop of the NFL did last year, the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost 6 of their last 7 games. They collapsed at the end of the year, just like the Niners collapsed at the end of the 2024 season. And the Eagles rolled up squad deep last year with Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, Big Dom, their coaching staff, their front office in tow. And after the dreadful end of their 2023 season, what did they do in the draft? They took Quinyon Mitchell in the first round, Cooper DeJean in the second round, Jalen Hunt in the third round. That's 2 starters in your secondary, 2 high-level impact players, and Jalen Hunt turned it on at the end of the year in the playoffs and was terrific as part of that pass rush for Philadelphia in their dominant Super Bowl win over the Kansas City Chiefs. And what happens? On Thursday, a report surfaces from Tim Kawakami that Kyle Shanahan could be in attendance at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis next week. Now, John Lynch, as of right now, is scheduled to speak either Tuesday or Wednesday. Kyle Shanahan, as you can see with the schedule here, not scheduled to talk as of right now. I hope that changes because there are a lot of questions that Kyle Shanahan should answer about the hiring of Robert Saleh, about the hiring of Brant Boyer, defensive coordinator, special team coordinator. Those are huge hires for this team. What is the future of Debo? What's the injury status of Brandon Ayuk? What's going to happen with Jake Moody? What are your plans for the NFL Draft? How can you learn from what Philadelphia did and how they executed their offseason plan last year, which resulted in them winning their second Lombardi Trophy since 2017? And so John Lynch will talk. I hope Kyle Shanahan does the same, and I hope he's watching the show. And Kyle, I'd love to chop it up with you just to talk some football because I appreciate and admire your football mind. With that, natural segue to this. The Niners' dream draft target should be Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham. And Daniel Jeremiah agrees with that. He said this about the Michigan star. Yeah, where the Niners are picking at 11, they're going to be able to get a really good player. I'm curious. The one thing that we talked about with Mason Graham, one of the top players in the draft, I'll be curious to see how he goes through the spring and through the combine. As I mentioned, I think his tape is so good, but I want to make sure he's going to totally ace the spring part of it. If you were looking for someone who I think would be a home run pick for the Niners, what's the dream scenario? To me, it would be Mason Graham falling to the Niners where they could scoop him up and pick him up. And that goes along with what the Niners need to ace this offseason. They need to rebuild the trenches, offensive line and defensive line. And specifically with the defensive line, they need pass rushing and run stuffing, edge rushers to go alongside Nick Bosa, and defensive tackles. Because what was the Eagles' formula for throttling, thrashing, and embarrassing the Kansas City Chiefs? They were able to get home with 4, and they had Patrick Mahomes under siege in Super Bowl 59 from the start of that game to the end of it. Philadelphia did not blitz once against the Chiefs, yet they logged 26 pressures. And the pocket was breaking down from the edges. The pocket was breaking down and getting muddied from the interior. And so to log 26 pressures with 0 blitz and have 6 sacks, what an incredible performance from Vic Fangio's defense. The Eagles had a pressure percentage of 42.9%. And the Eagles' defensive line in the playoffs got better from the regular season to the postseason. To win a Super Bowl in today's day and age, when the rules cater offenses, when you have these really insanely talented quarterbacks, your defensive line has to bring it. And if you can't get a pass rush, your secondary will be picked apart. And when you have that pass rush, you can provide pressure that can result in turnovers, you get off the field, and then your offense has more opportunities to score points and score easy points. Or in the Eagles' case, strip sack of Mahomes, pick 6 of Mahomes, interception of Mahomes, and the Eagles were able to generate points off of all of those giveaways. 14 points off the 2 picks, and then 3 points off that strip sack. And the Eagles' defensive line in the playoffs, wild card round, divisional round, NFC Championship game, Super Bowl, 92 combined pressures, 15 sacks, and a pass rush win rate of 54.4%. And that defense balled out in the Super Bowl. Look solely at what the Eagles' defensive line was able to do. Josh Sweat, 2.5 sacks. Milton Williams, defensive tackle, 2 sacks. Jordan Davis, defensive tackle, 1 sack. Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, destroyed the middle. Jalix Hunt, rookie edge rusher, half sack, multiple pressures. And they got home with 4, and the back end was really good with that sticky coverage. And the Eagles had playoff domination that the Niners should be reveling at, right? 3rd highest combined margin of victory for a conference championship and a Super Bowl in the history of the league. They won their NFC title game by 32 points. They won the Super Bowl by 18 points. That's a combined margin of victory of 50 points. 3rd behind the Niners in 1989, 72 points. And the 1985 Bears, led by a really good front and a great defense, 60 points. And so right now, the Eagles are the class of the NFL. They're in the same conference as the San Francisco 49ers. And now the Niners are chasing them. And the Niners can catch up to the Eagles if they do all of these things that I'm talking about, which could start with selecting Mason Graham if he falls to them or if they trade up for him. In 2024, great year for Michigan. In 2023, helped them win a national championship. 45 tackles, 7 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, 34 pressures, 1 forced fumble. And in his career, there has been consistent, steady production. 13 pressures, in 2022, 29 in 2023, 34 in 2024. The TFL numbers are there, the sack numbers are there, and in his career, 39 games played, 18 TFLs, 9 sacks, 76 pressures in those 39 games. And his Pro Football Focus numbers, awesome. An overall PFF grade of 91.1, a pass rush win rate of 13.8%, a pass rush grade of 81.1%, a true pass set rush grade of 87. And here's what's notable. He's not just a pass rushing defensive tackle. He is stout against the run. He's the perfect player for what the Niners are looking for, a run defense grade of 92.6. And so Graham is the player that the Niners need to draft if they can. You put him on that defensive line alongside Nick Bosa with the defensive coordinator that's coming back to the Niners in Robert Saleh. He's a perfect scheme fit. He's a great player. He's a good complement to what you already have, and he fulfills a massive need. And stylistically, he is the player that you need to get over the hump, to replicate the success that the Eagles had. Because the Eagles' success this year was the same formula to beat Patrick Mahomes that the Buccaneers were able to show in 2020 when they set the record in Super Bowl history for the most pressures on a quarterback. This Niners polo, by the way, on sale was $80, now $43. The one that I have is very identical to that. I wear it during all of the watch parties. The material is phenomenal, and I had to pay the $80 when I got this a while ago. You can get yours for $43. Chatsports.com/49polo. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior. Picking up crazy followers for all of the NFL content that I put up over there, and I appreciate your support in advance.